cherry tree. One day, when Ragesh was 6, he walked home from the Missouri bazaar eating bright red cherries which had come all the way from the Kashmir Valley. Rakesh lived with his grandfather on the outskirts of Missouri, just where the forest began. His father and mother lived in a small village 50 miles away, where there were no schools. So they sent him to stay with his grandfather in Missouri. Grandfather was a retired forest ranger. He had a little cottage outside the town. Rakesh was on his way home from school when he bought the cherries. By the time he reached the cottage, there were only 3 cherries left. "Have a cherry, Dada," he said, as soon as he saw his grandfather in the garden. Grandfather took 1 cherry and Rakesh promptly ate the other 2. He kept the last seed in his mouth for some time, rolling it round and round on his tongue until all the tang had gone. Then he placed the seed on the palm of his hand and studied it. "Are cherry seed lucky?" asked Rakesh. "Of course." "Then I will keep it. Oh, nothing is lucky if you put it away. If you want luck, you must put it to some use. What can I do with a seed?" "Plant it." Rakesh went to a corner of the garden where the earth was soft and yielding. He did not have to dig. He pressed the seed into the soil with his thumb and it went right in. Then he had his lunch and ran off to play cricket with his friends and forgot all about the cherry seed. In the winter evenings, grandfather and Rakesh sat over a charcoal fire and grandfather told Rakesh stories. In return, Rakesh would read to him from the newspaper. One spring morning, Rakesh went to the garden and picked up what he thought was a small twig and found, to his surprise, that it was well rooted. He started at it for a moment, then ran to fetch grandfather, calling, Rakesh went down on his haunches, while grandfather bent almost double and breathed down at the tiny tree. It was about 4 inches high.
"Yes, it's a cherry tree,"
said grandfather.
"You should water it now and then."
Rakesh ran indoor and came back with a bucket of water. "Don't drown it." Rakesh gave it a sparkling and circled it with pebbles. "What are the pebbles for?" asked grandfather. "For privacy," said Rakesh. That year, the monsoon rains come early, and Rakesh plodded to and from school in raincoat and gumboots. The cherry tree grew quickly in this season. It was about 2 feet high when a goat entered the garden and ate all the leaves. Only the main stem and Two thin branches remained. Never mind, said grandfather. It will grow again. Cherry trees are tough. Towards the end of the rainy season, new leaves appeared on the tree. Then a woman cutting grass scrambled down the hillside, her scythe swishing through the heavy monsoon foliage. She did not try to avoid the tree. One sweep, and the cherry tree was cut in two. When grandfather saw what had happened, he went after the woman and scolded her. But the damage could not be repaired. Maybe it will die now, said Ragesh. Maybe, said grandfather. But the cherry tree had no intention of dying. By the time summer came round again, it had sent out several new shoots with tender green leaves. That monsoon, Ragesh went home to his village to help his father and mother with the planting and ploughing and sowing. He was thinner but stronger when he came back to grandfather's house at the end of the rains to find that the cherry tree had grown another foot. It was now up to his chest. One day he found a bright green praying mantis perched on a branch, peering at him with bulging eyes. Ragesh left it to remain there. It was the cherry tree's first visitor. The next visitor was a hairy caterpillar who started making a meal of the leaves. Ragesh removed it quickly and dropped it on a heap of dry leaves. Come back when you are butterfly, he said. Winter came early. The cherry tree bent low with the weight of snow. One morning, when the sun came out, grandfather came into the garden to absorb the warmth of the sun. He stopped in front of the cherry tree, started at it for a few moments, and then called out, Ragesh, come and look. Come quickly before it falls. Ragesh and grandfather gazed at the tree as though it had performed a miracle. There was a pale pink blossom at the end of a branch. The tree kept blossoming right through the spring. That summer, there were small cherries on the tree. Ragesh tasted one and spat it out. It's too sour, he said. They will be better next year, said grandfather. On a warm sunny afternoon, Rakesh was looking for grandfather but could not find him. Then he looked out the bedroom window and saw grandfather reclining on a cane chair under the cherry tree. There's just the right amount of shade here, said grandfather. Grandfather and Ragesh waited in silence until the stars come out. There are so many trees in the forest, said Ragesh. What's so special about this tree? Why do we like it so much? We planted it ourselves. That's why it's special, said grandfather. Just one small seed, said Ragesh as he touched the smooth bark of the tree. I wonder, he whispered, is this what it feels to be God?